Why are many West Enders fighting a plan to bring in more rental housing? There has been virtually no rental housing stock built in Vancouver in 20 years. The Vision Council, introduced a program called the STIR program to try to encourage developers to invest in rental housing. And it's meeting with really strong opposition from the West End. And we're going to be talking in a moment with Randy Helten, a member of End Neighbours. But first I'd like to ask Geoff Meggs, Vancouver City Councillor with Vision Vancouver, to explain what the STIR program is, what it is intended to do, and why he thinks his party is running into such opposition over it. Mr. Meggs, good morning. Thanks for doing this.
Bill. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Yeah.
The STIR program.
During the election, I think it was not that long ago, and the issues that we were confronting haven't changed dramatically. There's a real shortage of rental housing. In the city, the vacancy rates are very low. A lot of tenants in the West End are facing what came to be called rent evictions, where landlords were exercising their rights to move them out, upgrade, and dramatically increase the rents. And faced with all those factors, plus the fact that half of our city's housing stock is rental and is being renewed at a bare trickle, frankly not being renewed at all, we committed during the election to bring in an incentive program to encourage rental housing development. And when the mayor got a mandate, he drove ahead with it. And there was consultation, quick consultation, I acknowledge that, but based on our election mandate, we thought we had to get going. And by June, we had the program in place. Effectively, what it does is it's got two approaches. One's been more successful than the other, but it analyzes the gap that is there for a developer if they're trying to choose between rental and a condominium project. And we try to close that cost gap to make it possible for rental to happen. And in the rezoning stream, that can come in the form of expedited approvals, although it still goes through the public hearing process and so forth. They can get concessions on parking. We will forgive them the development cost levies. So there's a combination of reduced red tape, if you like, and some financial concessions that close the gap. And it differs from project to project. But
it's intended, if I can, it's intended to create rental housing which developers have shied away from for about 20 years since the federal government got rid of tax incentives like the MERB programs to encourage investment in rental housing.
Exactly, and we didn't give a tax incentive. There's not a property tax forgiveness here. But what we did do is insist that if they take the package, they have to commit that the building remains rental for 60 years or life, whichever is longer.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to stand by. Randy Helten is here. He's a member of the West End Neighbours. That's a group that was that group basically formed as a result of the STIR program?
As a result of yellow cards and yellow rezoning signs appearing in the West End.
Okay. Tell me what your objection is to the government providing incentives to developers to build the first rental housing to be built in 20 years.
Well, I think that it's easy to get lost in all of the spin and all the dust in the air. But
I'm not spinning. That's my first reaction was my gut reaction to, well, what's the problem with building new rental housing, of which there's been a shortage for a long time and no incentive for developers to build?
Yeah. Well, about 4,700 people now have signed a petition. The title is No Rezoning Without a Comprehensive Plan. And that's the bottom line of the issue. West End loves rentals. More than 85% of the population live in rental apartments.
Yeah.
And we understand that we need new buildings built. We are not against development.
Do you understand that they can't be 6 stories high?
Well, that requires a bit more explanation. But
it makes financial sense for a developer to build a 6-story building of rental accommodation. They don't make any money.
That's true. Well, it's actually a much bigger issue. The Vision Vancouver was elected with a wave of popular support in 2008. And they made various campaign promises. One was to deal with the rental issue, but they made other promises, which was to listen to the people, listen to the communities, respect the voice of the people. And I think that they're putting too much priority on some. And in fact, the issues like rent evictions are serious. The meeting last night we had with 250 people there, and Councillor Meggs was there as well, although he misunderstood the point of the meeting. Senior housing is a serious problem. Seniors are really in trouble there in the West End. There's a big problem with affordable housing. Community groups need space and all that. Those are all super critical issues. and the STIR program does not directly deal with them.
Councillor Meggs?
Well, no, it's not supposed to. And, I think the difficulty here is that what we're seeing in the West End right now is, in my view, a very honest, angry, and frustrated reaction to what the community sees as an intensive wave of development. And we can argue whether it's a wave or a ripple or whatever, but there's no question, and Randy's right, I was there last night with Councillor Chow and Councillor Woodsworth. The neighborhood is aroused, and 4,700 people have signed a petition, but I think it's more about a concern about development than it is about STIR, because about 10 or 12 blocks away, Council's got a proposal from a developer to put a STIR project on Granville. They sent out 3,000 letters and had 4 replies that were split on the project. So it's very neighborhood specific. I'm very proud of the STIR program, and I don't think any of the vision councillors would apologize for trying to help tenants, and I don't think anybody's asking us to. The issue here is that this community, and it's not alone, feels that for whatever reason, they're being buried alive by development, and this project has become the focal point of their frustration.
Are these rental buildings that are being proposed, being offered to developers, going to be built throughout Vancouver, or are they concentrated on the West End?
No, they're scattered around the city, and one of the proposals that came forward for the West End was rejected at the staff level as not appropriate for the site. It was going to be a fourth one of the beach towers, which some people may be familiar with down on English Bay. There's already 3 rental towers there, but staff's view was that a fourth was a bridge too far on that site, so that one's gone by the board. There are also a couple of condominium projects that are coming forward in the West End. All told, and I stand to be corrected on this, the number of if they're all open today and everybody could move in today and they were all approved and so forth, which is very far from certain in any case, there would be about 600 or 700 new residents in the West End.
At what sort of level of rent, Mr. Meggs?
Straight market. I mean, we asked staff to look at trying to reduce the rents. There'll be the market rent for the West End, which are some of the worst in Canada, probably, but they are affordable to people with incomes of $50,000, $60,000 at the one-bedroom level, and that's what the market provides. Taxpayers' pockets at the city level are simply not deep enough to start subsidizing rents, and so we're not going to go down that road. Our view is that you can't simply increase supply to achieve affordability, but you can achieve affordability without some more supply. And we're trying to get as far as we can, but we can't be crazy and simply throw everything we've got into subsidizing rents in a private development. The number of people that would be in the West End as a result of these developments, and I don't denigrate the concerns on the community side whatsoever. We're listening as hard as we can, but would be, put it in context, about 200 people a year have been moving to the West End without any major changes. This is, in my view, kind of in the same range, maybe double, but not to my mind, a huge thing, but it's very, very large in the eyes of the residents, and the council has to take that very seriously, and so does the developer.
Randy Helten, from what if I understood Mr. Meggs correctly, when they were all completed, this would be about 600 more units in the West End? Well, so that might be, 800 to 1,000 more people living in the West End?
Yes, well, we don't know where this would be going had there been no citizen uprising. But there could be 500 or 1,000, and I believe about 60% of the current proposals are in the West End. Part of the problem is that Dr. Meggs and the Vision Vancouver and the
you overqualified me, Randy. I'm not a doctor by any means.
Oh, I see. Well, my point was that the Dr. Meggs and the Vision Vancouver party are trying to apply the wrong medicine to the wrong problem.
I want to get some public input on this, so I'm going to ask you both to stand by. I'm going to come back and open the phones. 604-280-9898. You're with Bill Good on the Chorus Radio Network.
Live from downtown Vancouver, broadcasting around the province of British Columbia and on the Chorus Radio Network. This is The Bill Good Show.